everybody. Welcome to Losing Your Mind with Chris Cosentino. I'm sitting here with Rick Gencarelli, former Boston guy, Connecticut, wicked pisser, moved to Portland.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, he's wicked cool. He makes sandwiches at a place called Lotto.
Fucking extra hots. Extra hots.
Extra hots. Rick and I go way back. Way back. That makes us sound old, right?
We are old.
We are old, yeah. So I met Rick when he moved to San Francisco, and we were working at Rubicon together. And he had been a little bit at Aqua and a couple other spots, and came over to Rubicon, and we had a lot of fun working really hard. And now Rick is taking over the world one sandwich at a time. And I'm really stoked to have you here, man. This is really fun.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah, I mean,
we're in the rabbit hole.
We're in the rabbit hole. We're in Portland. And so, you know, growing up, we both grew up in New England.
Mm-hmm.
And then we crossed paths in San Francisco. And, you know, previously you were working with Todd
English. Yeah. I did that for 10, so all in on and off for 10 years, but I started fresh out of culinary school. Well, I should back up because I was eating at Olives, in the original Olives in Charlestown back when I hadn't even gone to culinary school yet. I was in my 20s, and I was eating at this tiny little restaurant that just opened up that was getting a lot of attention. And Todd's food blew my mind. We're going back in the 90s. So nobody had ever really, it was like the first for a lot of people in Boston to eat polenta. And you know what I mean?
Well, polenta in a restaurant. They were eating it in their homes. The old school Italians were.
Sure.
But not in a restaurant.
Yeah. And then, you know, he had the wood-fired grill and the wood-fired oven, and you could smell the place from several blocks away. And it was just so exciting. I just didn't know food could taste like that. It was just had a very profound impact on me as a young guy who was in the food industry, but never, you know, I wasn't cooking. I did some cooking, but not very seriously, you know, just, you know, dumb stuff. And then, so he kind of inspired me to go to culinary school, especially back then, like when the economy tanked and my job was just, you know, I was doing like volume feeding, corporate stuff in Boston. And I was basically like a lunch lady, and I was very unhappy.
Were you wearing the special socks? Stockings?
And the hairnet.
The hairnet.
That's what I was doing. I learned a lot. It was fun, but I wasn't really satisfied. And I always, you know, that was a perfect opportunity for me to go to culinary school. So that's what happened. Went to CIA. I was 25, and at the time I felt old. You know, I was like I'm among the older people here at culinary school. But, you know, had I gone when I was 18, I would have screwed it up like everything else that I screwed up when I was 18. So I took it seriously, and I loved it. I learned a lot. I was into it. And for the first time in my life, I was doing well at something that was, you know, scholastic, you know, and being in a kitchen for sure, like appealed to the, you know, the part of me that's very ADHD. And, you know, our generation obviously we didn't get diagnosed. We
were called retards.
We were called retards.
Seriously. I mean, and you know, we're not supposed to say that anymore, but that's what they call it, you know. Put those kids in the special ed class. They're retarded. They can't do it.
Yeah, mostly I had the same sort of like, your son doesn't pay attention. He can't focus. He doesn't apply himself. You know, because I was too distracted. And anyway,
yeah, I get it.
You know,
Trust me, I was that kid.
Yeah, no, I got Anyway, so I was stoked. I found something that I really wanted to do, and I was pretty good at it. And then so a couple of weeks before I graduated, I gave Olives a call. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be getting out of CIA in a couple of weeks. Yeah, you know, I want to work for you guys. And it turned out to be Todd on the phone, which was bizarre to me. And he said, just get here on Saturday. I was like, okay. And then I went there on Saturday, and that was it.
You got turned inside out that day, though, didn't you?
It was pretty bonkers. Yeah, I mean, it was a busy place, man. That was at the height of its sort of popularity, and doing like 270 covers on a Saturday night, and just like a ginormous menu. I'd never seen. It was like a Greek diner. It was huge. The stuff he was doing and the amount of food he was putting out of that kitchen was just astounding. So I loved it. I went back 2 weeks later. I graduated. I started working at Olive's the day after I graduated culinary school, and I didn't look back for 4 years. And even when I put my notice in to leave, he'd give me, he'd make me a sous chef, or he'd, talk me into staying. I really loved it. But in the back of my mind, I was like, am I spending too much time here? I have to I have to make my culinary experience pretty well-rounded, but it turned out great. I did a lot of cool stuff with him. Ended up opening the W Hotel in New York. Lived in Manhattan for a while, right before 9/11. Anyway, yeah.
And you
in
moved
between
to San
all
Francisco.
that, I met you. Yeah. I left for a while. Sheila, my then girlfriend, now wife, Sheila, and I drove across country. We were like, we're getting out of Boston. We're gonna go check out San Francisco. And I had already been there for my externship at Aqua. That was a great experience. I went back with Sheila, and that's when I got a job at Rubicon. That's where I worked with you. And
dude, we were the dynamic duo.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Those days were awesome.
We had fun. And I still say to this day, you really were one of the best line cooks I've ever seen. I tell people that all the time because it's true. And you used to bail me out of the shits like crazy.
That kitchen was hard, man. That was hard. We were busy.
Yeah, just saute and grill with a guy with, what's his name, doing Garmager, right?
Joe DiPola.
Joe. Get in touch if you're out there, kid. I want to talk to you.
Joe DiPola. And who was on Hot Apps? It was Joe DiPola.
Well, Joe was Hot Apps.
Joe was Hot Apps. It was somebody else on
the cold side.
On the cold side. It was literally a 4-person station, then pastry was upstairs.
Yeah. And it was like 150.
On a slow night.
Yeah, like crazy.
And Raj,
and now he's a
master
star.
He's a superstar. He was a food runner then. Yeah. Training with Larry Stone, and it was Scott Newman, and I mean it was a Greg Hardesty.
Yeah. I lost touch with all those guys. But man, what a
Mama Celeste.
Yeah, of course.
She's the bomb, dude. She's the bomb.
How do you remember those names?
Yada. Oh
my God, that's right.
So I think, when we look at those times and you see, you then left San Francisco and you moved to Vermont.
Well, I left San Francisco, I moved to New York City. That's when I did that project for Todd at the W Hotel. To Vermont. And then, yes, had Luke, our first son, living on the Upper East Side with a toddler. Opened Olives in the hotel, and then got pregnant with number 2, and then 9/11, and it was all just sort of things pointed out of New York. It was all sort of writing on the wall. Sheila had this idea to move to Burlington, Vermont. She had done her residency when she was in pharmacy school. She had done a residency in Winooski, and she was convinced that Vermont was, especially Burlington, that little pocket of Vermont was the place to go and raise kids and have a better quality of life and a bigger yard. And so we moved. Yeah, so I moved out of New York City into Burlington, Vermont. It was like driving 105 miles an hour and then just slamming on the brakes because I had no job. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had taken a job at New England Culinary Institute. And so just kind of a restart. I've done that. I mean, I'm sure just like you have. And as a cook, you have to restart every once in a while, just because that's how this industry is. You get to a certain point with a certain chef or a restaurant, and then you hit a ceiling and you have to move or go to a new place, and you have to kind of reestablish yourself. So that's what I did several times in the course of learning different things. And yeah, Vermont was cool.
You were at Shelburne Farms for a while.
Yeah, I was the chef at the inn at Shelburne Farms for 4 years. Yeah.
And then you came to Portland. I mean, I remember getting that text, "Yo, dude, I'm going to Portland."
Yeah.
Who do you know?
Yeah, I didn't. That's the thing. Zero. I didn't know anyone, and I didn't know anyone that knew anyone. And Portland was just this island off on the West Coast. I'd never been. I knew nothing about it. All I knew is that, I had just seen the front page of the Wednesday food section in the New York Times, and it was Gabe Rucker and his two sous chefs, and the whole article was about how this is like the land of do-it-yourself restaurants, and everyone's kind of opening these restaurants that are on a shoestring budget, and everything sounded so fascinating. And then I read about Forest Park and the Gorge and all the natural beauty and all the outdoorsiness and all the sort of like the lifestyle sounded fantastic, and it sounded like it had all of the elements of Vermont that we love, but some of the elements that we missed about being in New York City. So, a vibrant food scene, more music and culture, and a city, yeah, and to be able to live, in the city limits, and have a house and not have to be far out, it all appealed to us. So, yep, packed up and moved yet again, and then a year after I moved here, I opened up a food cart.
Yeah, and Lardo began. I mean, the food truck.
Yeah,
the food truck as Lardo started, and you have taken Lardo from a cart to multi brick and mortar locations. You're at what, 3 now locations in Portland proper of Lardo? No,
there's two in Portland.
Why am I thinking?
Well, I did. There was there was North Williams, which we closed. Probably, it was going back a few years. Opened up a third location in the North Williams neighborhood, and it just didn't work out.
But you have Grassa.
Yeah, there's 3 Grassa locations. As of a few months ago, we opened up the 3rd Grassa location on Hawthorne, and there's the Lardo in Vegas. Yeah. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been a fun 10 years. It's been growth. It's been a lot of learning. We've had some bumps, but for the most part, it's just been great. I hope we continue to grow and people continue to come in and like what we do.
Well, yeah, I mean they obviously do. Vegas is doing very well. People love you there. People love you here. Grassa, you just opened a new location, which has a pretty visible commissary-style pasta production kitchen, right?
Yeah, it's the first one that's sort of the dream was always to be able to produce pasta in front of people. We tried to do it downtown when we opened the first one, but the logistics of bringing water to that area in front of the window was going to be too cost prohibitive and just a ton of work, and it wasn't worth it. So we just decided to wait. And then my partner, Nick Sherman, saw an opportunity in this new spot where we could have this giant sort of pasta palace visible from 2 sides, like a corner spot, visible from the street. It's got a lot of room. So I actually end up spending a lot of time there just because of just the fact that I can work there and not be in the way. We just don't have a lot of room in most of our shops where I can spend time in the kitchen. Downtown's super small. Hawthorne is tiny. So it's been great. It's been great to sort of, I kind of got back. I cooked I've been cooking more than I have in past years, and it feels really good to kind of get back to it. So I'm sure like as you take on different responsibilities and you do more owner things, and you find yourself getting away from your hands in the food, and now I've kind of been enjoying a little more hands-on. It's made me feel a little more connected.
So did you, when you look at where and what you started, where you were starting when you started cooking and working with Todd, and I mean, Lardo crushes, like people go ape shit for sandwiches, and you have rules on sandwiches. So let's go over the sandwich rules, which I always think are fun.
So yeah,
the sandwich rules are really important. I agree with them, and I just think they're really important. People need to know there are rules to making sandwiches.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has their own little set of rules. Lardo has always been like, it started with a very small handful of sandwiches. Those sandwiches are still on the menu, but essentially, I mean. Yeah, we heat all of our bread. That's one of the things. Like, I don't like cold bread. I eat cold sandwiches. Like, I'll go to Whole Foods and get a turkey sandwich because I can't eat my own food. Not at this stage in my life, I have to dial it back and eat a little healthy, especially because you know what it's like to try to ride a bike when you're not haven't been taking care of yourself. But the sandwiches that we serve at Lardo have, it's hot bread, and they're very sloppy. Not very sloppy, but just sloppy enough. We say 10 napkins per sandwich. And then, I don't know. I don't know what the rest of the rules are. We try to make it delicious, try to make it memorable. We're working on some fun stuff for the spring.
You guys do a full Chef Witch program, right? And then each chef that you guys partner with gets to choose a charity.
Yes.
Which I think is amazing.
That's been the most fun. And I give a lot of things away to, I've kind of held that one kind of close. I sort of like a personal thing for me. I scout the chefs out. And I meet with them. We cook together. We test the recipes out. It's sort of like a process that I enjoy, and it's coming up on 8 years now for one chef every month, and it almost didn't really make it because it's just a lot of work. It's just a time suck. You know what I mean? And then you got to hope that these chefs will get back to you and give you recipes that work, and hopefully the sandwich is good, and then it'll sell. And sometimes it can be challenging, but it's been a great process, and we've raised a lot of money over the last 8 years. And and for the most part, every chef gets to pick their nonprofit to be the benefactor. This time of year, we ramp up for No Kid Hungry, which is something, you and I have both been working with for several years.
Yep.
I think you and Chris Domino got me into Chef Cycle and No Kid Hungry, and that was probably four years ago. And so now this time of year, I try to find chefs that are going to be on board for raising money for No Kid Hungry because I think it's great, and I want to reach my goal.
The goal is hard. The goal is serious.
It is, yeah. It just keeps getting higher and higher. So I think as a team this year. We're 21 riders strong, and our goal is 150,000.
That's great.
So we'll see, we'll see. And hopefully it doesn't get canceled. This is scary times, coronavirus, a lot of things are getting canceled. Like your kid's school just got canceled today.
Yeah, they were talking about canceling the Olympics. They're so freaked out.
Right. So we'll see. Hopefully we all meet in Bend in June and have a great 3 days of riding. Either way, we're going to raise some money, and I don't know if there isn't a ride, then I don't know. Then
you'll go ride your bike instead.
Yeah, we'll all get on our Wahoo kickers and meet on in a very safe germ-free environment in our basement. And
We'll all agree to meet at the, what is it, Wahulian Hill.
I think it's Watopia.
Watopia.
Yeah, we're going to have a chef cycle Watopia, 300 miles in 3 days. I'll kill myself before I put 300 miles on an indoor trainer.
I think that would be, I mean, people do it.
Well, I don't understand it. I can barely get through an hour.
It works. I dig
no.
it.
I mean,
you're on Zwift. We're
I
out
do
there.
I do like it. I'm not a hater. I get on it and I get the job done. But oh man, some of those miles are long.
Some of those miles are rough too.
Yeah. I want to get into one of those rides where you actually do like some. I know people host some crazy rides.
You should do the Matty Heyman Paris-Roubaix training. It's an hour and 45 minutes.
All right.
It's rough.
Sounds rough. How do you get? I wish you had the thing that makes it bumpy.
No,
right?
it's all like certain amount at 245 watts, and then you got to jack it for 760 for a certain amount of seconds, and then it drops, and then you get to play. It's really fun. It's a worthwhile.
Like crazy intervals.
Intervals and steady pace, and it's good. It works.
So you've interviewed some pretty big pro cyclists, right?
Yeah, I feel pretty fortunate. I've been able to meet with some really cool people. There's a lot of folks out there doing a lot of cool things, and Peter Stetton has been on board. Bob Roll's come on. We've had Ali Tetrick, Yuri Huswald, so Andrew Talansky.
Cool.
I'll be interviewing Greg LeMond this May. So
right.
So I'm super excited about that. But it's for me, this is really ultimately about connecting with people and letting people kind of explain how they got from point A to point B, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people want to know, like, how did you decide to start Lardo? What is it that made you say, I've been in the kitchen and I've cooked, what most people at that time were considering fine dining. And, I wanted to, what is it that made you say, what, I'm going to shift gears. And I'm going to put that type of effort into the most beautiful sandwich.
Yeah.
For a lot of folks, they don't know how to make that turn and make that bigger decision in life and say, you know what, this is going to be the best direction for me.
Yeah. It happened totally by accident. And that's part of one of the things that I love about the being in this business. It's taken me to some really weird places. I never really had a plan. But I kept just working and trying my best, and I tried to, just stay focused. And opening the cart was totally Sheila's idea. There was just this. It's 10 years ago in Portland. There were so many of these pods opening up, and so many people just like testing out their concepts, and it just seemed like a perfect opportunity for me to just get somewhere to get I didn't have any juice here in Portland at all. I knew no one. And I knew I didn't really want to work for anybody. I had reached a point in my career where I was like, kind of need to do my own thing. Don't know how I'm going to do that. But it's too late for me to go take a job, as someone's chef. I would have done it for the good of my family because it was either that or, not work. But the cart presented itself as this kind of medium ground where I could work, get my name out. Hopefully people liked it. And then I'd have options.
You had Dario Cecchini show up.
That's right. The madman from Ponzano. And that was fantastic. I have Kathy Wims. I have her to thank for that. That was great. They all rolled in one kind of cold early winter day and just drank wine, and I fed them porchetta, and it was really nice. That was one of my fondest memories of being on the cart. And the cart had some really rough days, but that was definitely one of the highlights, being able to share food with Dario. And he's going to be back this month.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, March 22nd.
Yeah. I just was with him in South Beach.
All right. Yeah.
He's like, you be in Portland.
My lata.
Yeah, I love him. He's
Carne.
He's so amazing.
He is bigger than life. I look forward to the Mailata every year, and he's just such a big part of it. So yeah, opened the cart, made sandwiches, and my background of being in more of a fine dining, full service and atmosphere, I just kind of I fought it a lot that I would be a sandwich guy. You know, it was kind of like, you know, it bummed me out a little. I felt like I was slumming it, or I was just kind of like not working to my potential. And I guess I had to get over that, you know, because once I opened Lardo on Hawthorne, as you know, the first brick and mortar, I found this sandwich shop, and it was very hard to open it and get it running. But then after a while, I found myself being able to be home for dinner most nights, and my stress level was lower. And I found that we could grow this thing. It had potential to be something that could be scalable, and then I could have, you know, I could make an actual living, you know. And in this business, you know, there are no 401ks for chefs, right? There's no retirement plan. It's like, you know, you have a bad back and a drinking problem and your feet hurt, and your restaurant is, you know, it's only as good as when you're there. And that's the reality, right? And when it's done, you've got a bunch of equipment that's worth about 10 cents on the dollar. And then what do? You know, and this model provided me with some stability and some sort of hope for, you know, maybe retiring or whatever, some sort of, you know, comfort. So, and then I guess one of my biggest worries is that I was going to be bored. You know, it's not going to be challenging. Making sandwiches is not that exciting, but it just, I couldn't have been more wrong. It had a whole different set of challenges. You know, learning how to manage lots of employees and managing food cost, and, you know, it all just had this lots of layers of challenges that I didn't anticipate. So
bread inventory. And everybody, he's laughing, but he knows I'm dead serious. That's no joke.
Yeah, try to manage bread. Oh my God.
That's the worst.
Yeah. So
it is literally, people think I'm kidding. It's not a joke. Like, that is one of the most, you can't run out of bread.
Yeah. I say this, and I credit, when I first started out, I was buying my bread from Fleur de Lis, and I only ran out, I think in the 2 years I was running Lardo as a food cart, I only ran out maybe 3 times, and it was later in the night. So I'm pretty proud of that. But I also credit Greg Mistel for making trips to the cart. You know, I'd call him, he would come and deliver bread anytime, and it was just the greatest thing, you know. So, and now we have our own bakery, which gives me a lot of real nice flexibility to create sandwiches that have specific breads and special bakes and toppings and special doughs. And so it's been fun. You know, the guys at Gabe and Josue and Tiffany at Dos Hermanos have been so much fun to work with. Yeah, we just moved into a new commissary space, which is very exciting for us. Big, brand new location. So I feel like we're built for growth. You know, we've got we've got Lardo, we got Grassa in Vancouver happening in a couple of months, and then spring of 2021 we've got a Lardo and a Grassa in Lake Oswego. So, and then we'll probably take a little breather after that and make sure everything's running okay.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. Yes,
but I mean, you're also, you know, you have great people you work with. You've built a great team, you know, and when you look at Grassa, I mean, that is like as comfort as it comes. That's New England childhood. You've basically set up what we grew up with as kids in New England as Italian American.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
that's like, I hate to say it, it's as Dago as you can get.
Yeah, it's pretty Dago, but with like a nice hipster twist on it. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
it's some of those the Grassa menu, more than half of it is based on stuff that you and I both ate as kids. Aliolio was something that, like, that's what I ate in my house when there was nothing else to eat. There was always some kind of boxed spaghetti in the cupboard. There was always garlic. There was always olive oil. There was always crushed red pepper. You never went hungry. The kitchen, you know, there's always Parmesan cheese, right? So that was it. You know, if there was nothing else, you had aliolio, and it made me happy. And then Sunday pork ragu.
Sunday gravy.
Every
Depends on who you are.
Oh,
where you're from.
it was always gravy when I was growing up.
I mean,
You
but
too?
it depends. I mean, gravy from my grandmother was making tomato sauce on Sunday when she went to church.
Yeah.
So, but not with meat in it. She just made a tomato that she would simmer when she went to church. Not
Okay.
Not she wouldn't make the ragu wasn't gravy, but
Right.
but everybody has their own version.
Yeah,
so.
for us the gravy was always
Meat.
Gravy was always started with some kind of pork product. Sometimes it was just scraps of shoulder or a couple of ribs in there. As long as it started with pork,
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was,
And then you'd eat the meat was always separate from the tomato sauce, right? Yeah. So we got that on the menu. We got our version of cacio e pepe, and and then it's like then we kind of have 4 or 5 things that rotate seasonally or at our whim when we're feeling like changing it up. But the idea is that it's all very, very rooted in comfort food, and it's accessible. Meatballs, garlic bread, and wine on tap, and it's fun, and it's cool because we make the pasta, both dough, the egg dough and the extruded dough, so you can see it being made. There's this element of freshness and quality that are attached to
it's
it.
craftsmanship. People love seeing that.
Yeah.
It connects people to their childhood, seeing grandma, or just realizing that it's still a handmade product.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. The kids love it. People take photos, and it's kind of a centerpiece now where, we didn't know. Nick and I, my partner and director of operations, Nick Sherman, we put this together just kind of like at night, at a late night at Lardo downtown, trying to figure out what we were going to do with this middle space. The LLC for Gross downtown is still middle space because we didn't have an idea what we were going to do with it. And then we just sort of had this idea. Like
it's literally the LLC is called Middle Space.
Yeah, because we just didn't know what to call it. So it's Middle Space LLC. And it all started with a conversation about, doing something that was counter service, like using that Lardo model. But what else could we do? I'm like, well, I've been making pasta since I've been eating pasta my whole life. I've been making it. Todd English taught me how to make a lot of pasta. I loved it as soon as I started doing it. And so it stuck with me. And then all through my career, I made pasta in any kitchen that I was hired in, if they would allow me. And if they wanted to kind of make a small investment in a pasta roller, I would do it. And then, so that's how Grasso was born. Just, we need to do something with this middle space, and we have no fucking idea what we're going to do. So now you have 3 Grasso locations. So, I mean, it's really great to see that it's coming. There's a backstory to all of it. It all goes back to our childhood. Sure.
The sub shop was a thing when we were kids. You went you got a sub or a hero or a grinder or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, when I was in, I used to call it a wedge.
Is that what you used to call it? I've never heard it called a wedge.
Yeah. Well, in Connecticut, I called it a wedge. And then in New York, it was a sub. But either way, we don't have a lot of those classics. I think there's a guy named, there's DeMarco's here now doing it. Very classic style. And I haven't been, but I want to go check him out because it looks very, very, very New York / New England.
Oregano vinaigrette everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So.
That's so funny. So you guys partnered with a group to do a project in Japan, correct?
Yeah. So a few years ago, we met a group from a town 90 miles north of Tokyo called Maebashi, which is in the Gunma prefecture. And they were interested in bringing Portland concepts to this area of Japan. And the principal of the project, Mr. Tanaka, he was born and raised in this town of Maebashi. It's since gone, into sort of a state of economic decline because of the economy, and so his dream is to revitalize his home, his birthplace, because it was once a very thriving, vibrant place, center for retail and commerce, basically just hanging out, and now it's kind of a bit of a lot of people have moved out, and he wants to rebuild it, and so we decided that would be a cool thing to be a part of, and it's still there. We visit once a year, and it's Grasa, Japan. It's very weird and very wonderful.
That's awesome.
It's really fun to go visit and make pasta with those guys, and just see how it's doing. Not a whole lot has changed over the years, but I think Mr. Tanaka is still a believer that it's going to emerge, and that it's going to be back to hopefully somewhere close to where it once was. And it's just exciting to be on the ground floor of that. If it happens, then we could say that hopefully we had something to do with it, something to add to it.
And I've heard a rumor that your partner is kind of looked at as a demigod there. Is that true?
Yeah. So Nick Sherman is 6'6", hovering around 285 pounds, and big beard, lots of tattoos, and they have never seen anything like Nick. Especially, in Tokyo, he still gets stared at, but when we get into Maebashi, which is a smaller community, a little more rural, they absolutely, like, they want to take photos with him, and they want to challenge him to drinking contests, which is always a mistake.
For who, them or him?
Oh, for them, yeah. And Nick's undefeated. Can shotgun a beer in a record amount of time. So he's an anomaly. They're totally fascinated by Nick in Japan. He's fun to travel with, because we just make friends everywhere we go. Because he's like a circus attraction, Sorry, Nick. It's true though.
He knows. He loves it. Are you kidding me?
He does love it.
He loves it.
How could you not?
So, recently not recently now, you're 4 years in of really, you've really embraced Portland. I see you on the street screaming bike rights on the corner,
bicycle rights,
living your Portlandia dream. You put a bird, where's your bird tattoo?
Yeah, you can't see it.
You can't see it. But I think, let's talk a little bit about, what you guys are doing with Sac Lunch, PDX, and, Chef Cycle No Kid Hungry, which, we've done multiple times together now.
Yeah.
And there's a huge contingency of folks up here who show up every year and raise a ton of money, for which, we all believe is a great cause, which is that no child should go to school hungry. No kid should go hungry.
Right.
Every dollar we're able to raise can put, feed 10 kids a whole grain, a whole fruit, and a whole milk. That's sitting on their desk when they arrive at school. So, who is part of Sac Lunch now? It's grown pretty.
It's grown a lot, and it started with me and Chris Domino. Sort of, I had done the ride with him already, and then we decided that let's see if anyone else is interested. Because we know plenty of chefs, plenty of restaurant people. Some of them already ride, some of them want to ride, and then it started as a conversation about how do we get these people together, and how do we make this a bigger, more communal event. And so it happened pretty naturally. Matt Christensen, avid cyclist and friend, Krista Anderson from New Seasons. She does all of the prepared foods, and her husband Jeff have been there since day one. I think she's ridden every chef cycle, if I'm not mistaken.
Kate?
Probably not. Kate from Play Nice PR. We have,
I put you on the spot.
I'm drawing a blank now, but I'm trying to name names. Patrick Kreitzen from Tillamook, and Matt Sigler, not on our team, but he's riding with Kimpton, and whole bunch of cool people. Yeah.
So are you still doing group rides every week and trying to get everybody out there together and training?
Yeah. We've actually made an official group ride Sunday, 9 a.m. We meet at Elevator Coffee, and then we just decide on a route, maybe the day or night before. And we try to make it a no-drop casual ride.
How does that work out?
Yeah, it sometimes it works out okay, I think it's cool. Everyone pushes each other and wants to go longer or harder or climb bigger hills, but in the end, no, we're not, as long as they wait for me, the old man at the top of the hill, I'm fine. It's great. It's great. It's just watching people, feel good about themselves and get in shape. And, the thing for me, the coolest thing for me is that to know that we directly have an impact on these kids, because when we go to the events, they bring in principals and guidance counselors and teachers, and they tell us firsthand that the food that these kids have in the morning is having a direct impact on how they perform, their ability to pay more attention. They're, going to school more. They're showing up more, which is amazing because they're looking forward to going in and having breakfast. And then once you start to do better, you want to do more of it. It's kind of like riding a bike, right? The better you do at it, the more you want to ride it. And so it's kind of it helps me get up that hill. As corny as that sounds, like if I'm suffering, there's no suffering like being hungry, right? Yeah. So, it kind of motivates me to to ride stronger and to raise more money. So yeah, it's been great. It's kind of inspired me to be a little more thoughtful about how I drink and how I eat. I didn't plan on quitting drinking, but I'm in my now since January, February into March now. So I'm into my third month without any alcohol, and I feel pretty good. So I don't know where that's going to take me, but for now, giving it a break has felt pretty good.
Yeah, and I think it's a really interesting dynamic when you take a lot of us who stand on our feet for long periods of time, right? Running is not the healthiest thing for us. Let's be honest. It's too abusive on our joints. Yeah. And we get out there and we're low impact and we're out there riding for multiple hours. You really kind of get some clarity, and there is some solace and suffering, right? You're out there and you know there's an end to the means. For us, it may hurt on the climb, but we know after the climb's over, there's going to be some food. We're going to have rest, and I think like what you said, these kids, they go to school with nothing in their bellies, and now they're looking forward to what's waiting there for them because they are able to function better in school. School's easier. They want to go back. Prior to that, they were suffering because they were hungry and they weren't able to focus, and their school suffered. And you and I are not going to cure cancer.
Nope.
And I don't think anybody in our age bracket, I hate to say it, is going to come up with that magical answer. None of us in our age bracket are ever going to walk on the moon or Mars. But one of these kids will. You know? One of these kids will have the opportunity to do that if we give them the opportunity by helping to put food on the table, to give them the opportunity to learn to make those next steps forward. And I think that's a really big thing.
Yeah. I mean, and you have, you have a son, I've got a couple of boys, and, just it's the idea of sending them to school without anything to eat is, it just kind of crushes your soul a little bit. So, it resonates, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
totally. It hit home for real.
Yeah.
And like you said, when we see, like for instance, in Santa Rosa 2 years ago, when we rode by the school site there where the school burnt down and all the kids were standing outside.
Yeah. That I remember very, very well. Yeah.
We were riding together that day.
Yeah. Yeah. There are images of Santa Rosa that, just, that's the thing about this event. There there are little, snapshots of time in the course of 300 miles in 3 days. A lot of it's a blur.
But you choose moments to remember.
Yeah, but there's little pieces I do remember, and I do definitely remember the kids out in front of the school, and that was very moving. And I do remember listening to the principal from that school and watching the slideshow, and that was just just heart wrenching and beautiful. That that we were all in that room, all 250 riders, watching her explain how things have changed in her school. So. Yeah, I feel very connected to it, and I think that I raise money for dozens of nonprofits, and there's no such thing as a bad cause, but this one for me is just so close to my heart.
I mean, it's kids. It's like our job in life has always been to feed people and make people smile.
Exactly, and that's probably what a big part of it is, right? We nurture people for a living, so and that's what hospitality, at its root is. So. Feeding these kids is just a kind of an arm of that,
Yeah, exactly. So the new shop's open. You're training. Are you training?
Oh yeah.
I'm not nearly enough training right now.
This is more miles than I've had on my legs this time of year, in years past. So
that's great.
I got a long way to go, but I'm feeling like I got a good head start. Usually we're starting in March for a May ride. So
now it's June, and so it's a little bit easier. And it's closer.
Oh yeah, being in Bend is fantastic. Being the home team is great. I should say that chefcyclepdx.com is if anybody wants to donate, that would be the best way to do it. Chef Cycle PDX. Go there, give some dough. If you're feeling generous.
You know what, folks? It's pretty straightforward. It's just like don't drink your latte. Don't have 2 lattes in a day. That's $5. So take 7 days, have 1 latte a day at Starbucks so you do 7 times 5. That's $35. Put that $35 in, and what that ends up doing is you're feeding 350 kids. It's a pretty simple number. It's just not hard for the math.
Yeah.
So let's think about it that way.
I like that.
Right? Not hard.
Not hard.
But we take it for granted every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? We take the little things for granted. And I think it's stuff like that. Being able to ride with your friends out there knowing you're doing the right thing is a pretty cool feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and it just has, there aren't a lot of times in your life where you spend 4 hours without your phone out in nature, pushing your body a little with people that you love right next to you. It's just a really cool thing. Riding bikes. It's cool.
It's cool. I mean, it's funny. We get to wear superhero costumes, AKA glorified underwear.
Yeah, I think somebody has to revolutionize the attire though. I mean, I'm ready for a revolution in apparel in bike clothing.
It's not going to happen, dude. It's as revolutionized as it's getting.
I mean, I fully embrace it. I've got all the gear, but I just, I guess I long for that day when we've got something just a tiny bit more,
loose fitting.
Yeah, a little more casual, less superhero.
Less superhero. Well,
less 2 pounds of bologna in a 1 pound bag.
That's good. I like that one.
But I do understand it.
I mean, there's definitely a methodology.
Couldn't do 100 miles in a pair of gym shorts. Let's be honest, right?
No, you couldn't. No. And your jeans would be really comfortable, I'm sure.
I see a lot of these guys out in Portland in jeans in the rain, and I'm like, oh man,
the chafe is gonna be epic.
I hope you got some moisturizer for later on, dude.
So I like to do a quick round here where I ask a set of questions that's asked everybody pretty much the same thing, and no answer's right, no answer's wrong. It's just up to you. So, hamburger, hot dog.
Hamburger.
Ketchup, mustard.
Mustard.
Fries, onion rings.
Fries.
Nigiri, sashimi.
Nigiri.
Red or white?
Boxers. Or briefs.
No, I don't ask that one.
Sacks.
Red or
It's
white?
got a pocket.
Why?
White.
White. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Sea urchin or caviar?
Sea urchin.
Beef or pork?
Pork.
Wow. Donut or muffin?
Donut. Oh, that's fun.
You know, it's like bourbon tequila.
Yeah. You got to memorize too. Not even cheating.
I'm not even cheating. I don't even have a cheat sheet anymore. No, I think there's so many fun things that have gone on, and I mean, you and I have known each other for so many years, so I think it's really fun to catch up. And
totally.
you know, you've lived your best life being you, and I think that's what's always been so exciting about you, Rick. You've always had a big smile on your face, even during when days are hard, and you've gotten from point A to point B on your terms, and that's what people want to hear about.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, it has been. Yeah, it's been fun, for sure, and it's great seeing you too. I mean, from way back when, and watching you grow, and it's great, man. It's really great.
It's fun to see the people that you care about succeed, and to me, that's the most important thing right now. And it's been a lot of fun, to watch from afar, and now more so than ever, be right here, and be around and be able to hang out. And for a while we weren't able to do stuff. Now we're able to, catch up, go ride bikes, dress up as bumblebees.
Oh, that just happened. It was just a spelling bee,
which we will never be invited back to again.
Oh, they didn't like us.
They did not like us at all.
Turns out the academic crowd, they don't really. I shouldn't say that.
You can say that. I will. So when you show up to a spelling bee dressed as bumblebees, people don't find it funny.
Well, some people do. We did. We certainly
thought
did.
It was hysterical.
But they were wound a little tight, right?
Yeah.
Was it me?
No, it wasn't you. They were a little bound up on that.
Wasn't feeling the love from the.
They were so excited when they kicked us out. They were like, "Get out!"
Oh man,
that was funny. That was one of the better ones we've done.
Yeah, that was cool.
We've done.
I still have my.
I still have my bee costume.
Yeah, we should bust it out for Chef Cycle. Do a victory lap in our bee costumes.
Oh my God!
Talking about bike apparel, we could even have our leggings on underneath the bee costume.
Oh man, what is it? What's the song that it goes to? Blind Melon.
Yeah,
we can dance around in our little blind melon. All I can say.
And so, for those of you that don't know, it's an annual fundraiser Schoolhouse Electric puts on, and you team up with someone else and you do a spelling bee. And Chris decided it would be a good idea to go out and dance on the stage to that song while we were dressed like bumblebees. And I literally heard somebody from the crowd say, "Sit down." Yeah.
Carrie thought it was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we were definitely having a good time, but
they were not. There was like some.
We'll know better next time.
There was a Pulitzer Prize winner there. There was like some really smart folk.
There's some heavy hitting brains on
heavy
that stage.
Hitting brains, definitely.
It was like, what?
We spelled goods.
we were definitely at the wrong party.
I think they thought it was pretty funny. Let's get the blue collar workers over there.
They have to mix it up, right? We were like the, we were the wild card. They might not know how to spell, but they may know how to spell.
They may know how to spell the word food or cook. Maybe.
I just didn't understand the scoring. The whole way they structured it was a little weird because we only misspelled one word, but it was enough to get us like out of the first round. So
somebody else spelled 2 words wrong and they kept them. I think it's because our dancing skills were not up to par.
Yeah, it was all fixed.
It was fixed. We weren't fancy enough. We weren't famous enough. There was famous. So who was the famous person there?
I don't remember. It was like someone on the news, right?
Some TV show person.
Yeah.
Can't remember. Must not have been that famous.
Me neither.
Never saw their TV show. Your TV show stunk.
Yeah.
I don't care if you can spell. Your TV show wasn't good. What was your name again? So, guys, if anybody wants to, come to Portland, make sure to check out Lardo and Grassa. When you're in Vegas, definitely go to the Cosmo. You're at Block 15. You're going to see Lardo there. Make sure you stop by. Super fun spot. go on the way to the club, go on the way to the pool, go on the way after the pool. You definitely will not be bummed out. You can get dirty fries, you can get clean fries, you can go crazy. But at the same time, it's the most comforting big hug. If I'm correct, the mortadella is Rick's favorite. He may say it's not, but it is. He grew up with it.
Oh yeah, totally.
So
I still eat it.
Yeah, make sure you go by Lardo and check it out. And if you want to see what they're doing for the Chef Witch, every day it's going to be on the pig right out front. And that sandwich, you buy that sandwich, you're supporting that chef's charity. And each month is a different chef. So make sure you check it out.
And then next month, Chris Cosentino, Chef Cosentino, Chef Witch, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Can we talk about it?
Oh, yeah. Let's do that. We do that. What
Nice.
are we doing? I know what we're doing. I know what we're doing. Shh, we won't talk about it.
Yeah, don't say.
Don't say secrets.
It's a secret.
Secret sandwich. All right. Later, skater.